All right, let's talk about big watches and a big knife. Um, I'm going to out myself here by saying, yes, I did buy back in the day before I got into watches the Invicta Russian diver that has a dead battery. So that's why it's not ticking away. And the case is open a little bit because I went to look. That's a different story. I'm going to try to get a battery for this just because it's interesting. And yes, before I got into watches, I actually did wear this thing. It's like a skull, a can of skull on your wrist because it's a big, heavy, thick boy. But we're not here to necessarily talk about that guy. We are here to talk about this one. This is the Breitling Avenger XB0170. And it was loaned in from my good friend JP, 50 Shades of Slash on Instagram, who sent it along with the Homosaurus. So I figured it's kind of a good comparison. And I'm going to do another video on this knife very soon with its little brother, the double homicide. This is the Homosaurus. So we're just going to put that off to the side for a moment. Maybe he'll come back out. Maybe he won't. But yeah, this is a big watch. Now, I worked with JP back and forth before he bought this watch. He was very interested in watches and asked for my advice. So, yeah, you know you're in trouble if I'm the guy you're turning to ask for advice. Wait a second. I shouldn't say that on my YouTube channel. I want you guys to come here and watch and get my advice. Forget what I said. So I did send him my Omega SMP 300 so he could try that on. And I put it on the bracelet and made sure it was extended all the way out because he's a bigger guy. He can pull off this 50 millimeter Breitling and it looks like a normal watch on him. Now, if I put it on my 7.25 inch wrist, and this is a custom Stingray strap that he had made, it's on the last hole for me because he probably wears it out here on the second or third to last hole because he's a big guy. The SMP that I sent him all the way extended out just fit him. It worked well. So here it is on my 7.25. I think he's 8 something. 8-inch wrist. And he's got bear paws for hands. So even the Homosaurus looks kind of normal in his hands. It's odd. But he's a great guy. And this is a great watch. Even though it's 50 millimeter, it doesn't really wear like that. And it's super light. It's only 90 gram in this configuration. Now, this is not the stock strap. He did send along the stock rubber strap, which I did not measure the weight on it with, which has a very cool clasp with a toolless micro adjust. Much like on the Breitling that I have, it also has this type of a rubber strap that I've not ever put on my Breitling. Nice ratcheting strap. Very cool. And then he also has this kind of mesh rubber strap. Again, very cool straps for this watch, but the Stingray, man, it just kills it. So here is my Breitling, 42 millimeter. Let me zoom back in because, well, you know, with watches, you got to stay kind of zoomed in. Now, Breitling has amazing AR coating. Anti-reflective coating on both sides. I don't know that it's really going to show up here with the studio lights and stuff, but most of the time, if you're outside and you're looking at your watch, it looks like there is no crystal and you could just reach in and pull the hands. Or if you want to set your watch, you can just reach in and move the hands. So much so on this one for sure. This one also, but this one maybe the crystal disappears a little bit better. It's amazing. And Breitling is, I'm not going to say they're the only ones that do it that well, but they stand out in the watches. So this is the 12-hour chronograph version. They also have a 24-hour dial, I believe also in the chronograph, and they have this one in a non-chronograph. So with just a normal dial such as this. I'm not a big chronograph person. Apparently, JP is, because he bought this. And I don't remember if he bought it used or on the secondary. Right now on the Breitling website, it's $7,900. Add on a custom strap, which was probably a couple $300 for a custom Stingray strap. It gets up there, but it's worth it. Let's talk about the specs real quick. It's just over 50. It's like about 51 millimeters where I measure. They list it as 50. If you measure the bezel itself, I get 50. The lug to lug is 61, just a hair under 61. The lug width is 24 inches, or 24 millimeters. 24 inches. Jeez, come on now. It's late. It's 7 o'clock at night on a Saturday as I'm filming. This strap does taper down. The stock straps do taper down as well. It is 17 millimeters thick with a 9 millimeter crown that works fantastic. The crown is great. And it's signed. It's awesome. Sapphire crystal with AR coating on both sides. As I mentioned before, it's Breitling's Caliber 01. Whatever. A bunch of jewels, all this stuff, whatever. You want to read about that, I'll put a link, or you can just check the Breitling website. It's fine. 100 meter water resistance, 90 gram for this one, or for us normal folks, 3.2 ounces, which is considerably heavier than this VC Edge interface. Just as a side note, 1.6 ounces, 3.2 ounces. Interesting tidbit. 100 meter water resistance, about 70 hour power reserve on the movement. So that's fantastic. You can take it off on Friday night and put it back on Monday morning and you're still good to go. I love that. Awesome. It is a chronograph. So you got your running seconds ticker for the chronograph. The minutes are down here. Hours are over here. This is your running second hand for your normal timing. Okay. We'll just let that run for a minute. The pushers are kind of textured, more so for looks than anything else because there's not a lot of grip. 120 click bezel that doesn't have any play. It's a really nice bezel, but you only have these 4 kind of lugs to turn it with. So that's a Breitling thing on a lot of their divers that have these lugs, whereas this Breitling Super Ocean has kind of the coin edge all the way around, which I prefer rather than the lugs like that. It's not a snapped-on crown. That's the crown. This is the bezel. It's affixed with screws. Let's see if we can zoom in there and see those. So they've got screw heads here that actually hold the bezel on. So it gives it a really consistent feel because it's on, screwed in, and that's what holds it on. As we're really zoomed in here, you can see that beautiful dial. I think this is a great watch. It's too big for me. Now, the way they get the light weightedness out of it is the case material is called Bright Light. It is a proprietary material. People think it might be carbon fiber, but it's not. They're very clear that it is not carbon fiber. It is a polymer that has fibers embedded into it for strength and rigidity. Okay. But it's super lightweight, super strong. A little bit of information on the case back. The lugs and stuff here are just, they're smooth. They're kind of contoured. Not really contoured. The edges are softened, I guess is a good way to put it. The case back screws down. It doesn't screw in. It's got screws that attach it on. I really like it. If I were to get it, and here we'll reset the chronograph, just pops right back. If I were to get this, it would be I don't know. I might go with a 24-hour dial with no chronograph. I think that would be cool. I do not have a 24-hour dial watch. All of my digital watches, car stereo, iPhones, all of that are all in 24-hour time, military time. That's what I kind of live by. My work is that way and stuff like that. So I use that a lot. So to have a 24-hour dial would be kind of cool, I think, actually. So here it is next to the 42 millimeter Breitling Super Ocean. Yeah, this is a cool watch, JP. Let's give you a loom shot because I've rambled on now. And we'll loom up both of these with the UV light just to make sure they're really good. I mean, you're going to get some loom and some light from my studio lights, but blasting it with the UV light just enhances it that much more. So on the Avenger, great loom. Even the chronograph hand is loomed, as you see it ticking away there. I think that's great. And then on the Super Ocean, well, we've talked about that before. It's amazing. It's not running right now because, well, I haven't worn it in a few days. So I didn't take the time and get it spun up and adjusted and all that stuff. But there is loom on the seconds hand, so you can see that at night as well. I don't know, guys. I like this watch a lot. And it's just too big for me. But I'm really happy that JP likes it. He loves it. He is talking about another Omega now. Well, a first Omega. He really wants a Planet Ocean. And he's super interested in the Ultra Deeps, the new one that's kind of starting to hit the boutiques now. I'm waiting for my AD. He has a bunch on order. Can't wait to see those when they come in. I am tempted by a couple of the colorways of the Ultra Deeps. Myself, they're big, they're chunky. There will be some video on them at some point, I hope. We'll see. But yeah, JP's looking at a Planet Ocean maybe as his next watch. So JP, thanks for sending this in. I do greatly appreciate it. And everybody, thanks for watching. If you're interested in checking out the video on this one, I'll put in the link over here in the corner. Have a great day.